Sergeant Maya Chin was just another female soldier to her teammates, someone they had to protect. But when enemy forces heard her real call sign Ghost over the radio, they abandoned their weapons and ran. Her own team had no idea they'd been serving alongside a legend. Before watching full story, comment below from where are you watching. Also like and subscribe for more stories. The sun was just rising over Forward Operating Base Apache when Sergeant Maya Chen finished checking her equipment. Around her, the other soldiers in Bravo Company were getting ready for Operation Sandstorm. This was an important mission to attack enemy positions that were threatening their supply lines. Maya was small but strong, and she moved with the smooth actions of someone who had done this many times before. She ignored the jokes and comments from the male soldiers around her. They always had something to say about having a woman on their team. "Great, we're bringing dead weight on this one," said Corporal Jenkins to his friend Martinez. They were both big guys who thought they knew everything about fighting. "Maybe she can make us sandwiches while we handle the real work," Martinez replied, laughing. Maya kept preparing her rifle and gear. She had heard these jokes 1,000 times before. It didn't matter what she said, they wouldn't listen anyway. She checked her scope, cleaned her weapon, and made sure her medical supplies were ready. Every movement was careful and practiced. Private Wilson, who was new to the unit, watched Maya work. "Hey, Sergeant Chin," he said quietly, "how many missions have you been on?" "Enough," Maya replied simply, not looking up from her equipment. "She's been here 6 months, Jenkins said loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Mostly desk work and training exercises. This is probably her first real mission." Maya didn't correct him. There was no point. These men had made up their minds about her abilities before she had even arrived at the base. Lieutenant Bradley walked over with the mission assignments. He was the unit commander, a man who believed women shouldn't be in combat zones at all. He had made this clear to Maya many times during their briefings. "Chin, you're on communications and medical support," Bradley told her. "Stay back with the command post where it's safe." Maya looked up from her equipment. "Sir, I'm qualified for point reconnaissance. My test scores and training records show." Bradley cut her off with a wave of his hand. "Your scores don't mean anything when real bullets start flying. These aren't training dummies we're fighting, Sergeant. Real enemies don't go easy on you because you're a woman." "Neither do I, sir," Maya replied in a steady voice. Bradley's face got hard. "You want to prove something, do it in the rear with the radio. That's an order." Maya felt angry, but she kept her face calm. "Copy that, sir." Staff Sergeant Rodriguez, who was standing nearby, shook his head. "Sir, maybe we should." "Rodriguez, you have your own team to worry about," Bradley snapped. "Chin stays with communications." End of discussion. As Bradley walked away, Staff Sergeant Torres came over. He was the most experienced soldier in the unit. Unlike the others, there was something different in his eyes when he looked at Maya, like he knew something the others didn't. "Chin," Torres said quietly, "keep your radio on the command frequency today. And stay sharp." There was something in his tone that made Maya look at him carefully. "Is there something I should know, Staff Sergeant?" Torres was quiet for a moment, looking around to make sure no one was listening. Then he shook his head. "Just stay ready for anything. And Chin, don't let them get to you. I've seen your file. Your real file." Maya's eyes sharpened. "Staff Sergeant." "Just be ready," Torres repeated and walked away. An hour later, the convoy rolled out into the desert. Maya sat in the back of a communications truck, surrounded by radios and medical supplies. She could hear the other soldiers talking and joking in the vehicles ahead. They were excited about the fight to come. The driver of her truck was Specialist Davis, a quiet man who rarely spoke to anyone. "Sergeant," he said after they had been driving for 20 minutes, "I've heard things about you." Maya looked at him. "What kind of things?" "Good things. From people who matter. People who know what they're talking about." Maya didn't respond, but she wondered how much Davis really knew. The enemy they were going after was a group of well-trained fighters who had been attacking their supply convoys. Intelligence reports said they were professional soldiers, not just local fighters. They had good equipment and knew the terrain well. This wouldn't be an easy battle. What the soldiers in Bravo Company didn't know was that Maya Chen had a secret. Over the past 3 years, she had been on dozens of classified missions. While they thought she was just another soldier trying to prove herself, she had actually earned a reputation that made enemy commanders wake up in cold sweats. Her call sign was Ghost, and in the intelligence networks of their enemies, that name meant death. Maya had been part of special operations teams that had destroyed enemy bases, eliminated high-value targets, and turned the tide of battles. She moved through enemy territory like a phantom, striking fast and disappearing before anyone knew what hit them. Enemy fighters had started calling her the shadow that kills in their own language. But none of her current teammates knew any of this. Her previous missions were classified at the highest levels. To them, she was just Maya Chen, the female sergeant who shouldn't be in combat. The convoy reached the staging area 2 hours later. The landscape was rocky and dry with small hills that provided good cover. Maya could see why the enemy had chosen this place for their base. It was easy to defend and hard to attack. Through her headset, Maya could hear Bradley coordinating with other units. The plan was simple: surround the enemy position and attack from 3 sides. It should have been a straightforward operation. All units, this is Bravo 6, Bradley's voice came through the radio. Enemy position confirmed. Approximately 30 fighters in reinforced positions. Begin approach. Maya watched through the truck's armored windows as the soldiers spread out across the rocky terrain. She could see Jenkins and Martinez moving with their squad, looking confident and ready for battle. Private Wilson was with them, looking nervous but determined. The first shots rang out 20 minutes later. Contact! Contact! Someone shouted over the radio. Taking heavy fire from the North Ridge. Maya grabbed her rifle and medical kit. Even if she was supposed to stay back, soldiers might need help. She had taken one step toward the door when Tora's voice stopped her. Chin, stay put. That's not our fight yet. But Maya was already monitoring the enemy radio frequencies. It was something she had learned to do on her special missions: listen to what the enemy was saying to understand their plans. She had small devices that could pick up enemy communications, hidden in her regular radio equipment. What she heard made her freeze. The enemy commander was speaking in rapid, urgent tones. Maya understood enough of the language to catch the important parts. American assault, 3 directions, standard tactics. Then everything changed. Wait, the enemy voice said, suddenly sharp with alarm. Check the radio intercepts again. What American units are attacking? There was a pause, then a younger voice responded, Bravo Company, 2nd Battalion. They have standard infantry weapons and... No, the commander interrupted. Call signs. What are their call signs? Maya felt her heart start beating faster. This was not good. The younger voice came back, shaky now. Sir, we intercepted several call signs. Bravo 6, Alpha Team, Charlie Team, and sir, we detected Ghost. The silence on the enemy frequency was complete. Then the commander's voice came back, tight with fear. Confirm that. Did you say Ghost? Yes, sir. The American call sign Ghost is active on this operation. Maya heard the fear in the young soldier's voice. Even he knew what the name Ghost meant. What happened next surprised even Maya. All units, this is command, the enemy leader said, his voice now sharp with panic. Immediate withdrawal. Abandon positions. Full retreat to secondary base. Now, move. Move. Maya stared at her radio equipment in shock. She could hear the confusion in the American frequencies as the enemy fire suddenly stopped. Bravo 6, this is Alpha Team, came a confused voice. The enemy has stopped shooting. They appear to be retreating? Say again, Alpha Team? Sir, they're running. All enemy forces are abandoning their positions and withdrawing to the east. They're leaving equipment behind. Maya could hear the bewilderment in Bradley's voice. All units, pursue and engage. Do not let them escape. But Maya knew what was happening. She had seen it before on those classified missions. When certain enemy commanders heard her call sign, they didn't stay to fight. They ran. She keyed her radio to the command frequency. Bravo 6, this is Ghost. Be advised, enemy withdrawal may be tactical. Request permission to conduct reconnaissance. There was a long pause. Then Bradley's voice, confused, Ghost? Chin, your call sign is Bravo 7 Medical. Sir, Maya said carefully, Ghost is my operational call sign. I recommend caution in pursuit. Another pause. Then Bradley's voice, sharper now, Chin, what the hell are you talking about? Maya made a decision. Sir, requesting permission to explain in person. Davis, the driver, was staring at her with wide eyes. Your Ghost? He whispered. Maya nodded. Keep it quiet for now. 20 minutes later, Maya stood in front of Lieutenant Bradley and the other squad leaders. The enemy had completely disappeared, leaving behind weapons, supplies, and defensive positions they had spent weeks building. Jenkins and Martinez were there, along with Rodriguez and Torres. They all looked confused and frustrated. Explain, Bradley said, his face hard with confusion and anger. Maya took a deep breath. Sir, over the past 3 years, I have been attached to various special operations units for classified missions. My operational call sign during these missions has been Ghost. Jenkins laughed. Oh, come on. You expect us to believe? The enemy knows that call sign, Maya continued, ignoring him. They know what it means. When they hear it on a battlefield, they withdraw rather than engage. Martinez shook his head. This is ridiculous. Sir, she's making this up too? Shut up, Torres said quietly. All eyes turned to him. I've seen the after-action reports. Classified ones? Operations that turned impossible situations into victories? Missions where entire enemy units just disappeared. He looked at Maya with new understanding. I couldn't figure out where I'd heard your name before. But now I remember. You're the Ghost. Rodriguez stepped forward. I've heard stories. Rumors from people in special operations. They said there was someone called Ghost who could clear entire sectors without conventional forces. Bradley stared at Maya like he was seeing her for the first time. Is this true? Before Maya could answer, her radio crackled with an incoming message on a secure frequency. Ghost, this is Falcon Base. We have enemy communications intercept. Enemy commander is reporting to his superiors. Mission aborted. Ghost is active in the area. Cannot engage, too dangerous. How copy? Maya keyed the radio. Falcon Base, this is Ghost. Copy all. The silence in the group was complete now. Jenkins was the first to speak, his voice quiet and shaken. Jesus Christ. They're actually afraid of you. Maya nodded. Certain enemy commanders know my methods. They've studied the results of my previous operations. They know that when Ghost is involved, their survival chances drop to almost zero. Bradley ran a hand through his hair. Why wasn't I told about this? Classified, sir. Need to know basis. My regular assignment is cover for the special operations work. Martinez, who had been making jokes about her that morning, now looked pale. How many? I mean, what kind of missions? Maya's expression was steady. The kind where enemy units stop existing. Torres stepped forward. Sir, we need to understand what this means for our current operation. Maya checked her radio equipment again. The enemy has withdrawn to their secondary base, about 15 kilometers east. But they won't stay there long. Once word spreads that Ghost is in the area, they'll evacuate the entire region. You're saying they're running because of one person? Bradley asked, still struggling to understand. It's about reputation, sir. In their intelligence networks, my call sign represents a specific type of threat. They've learned that engaging units I'm attached to results in total casualties for their side. It's become a survival instinct. Maya paused, then continued, they don't care that I'm a woman. They care that I'm effective. Gender doesn't stop bullets or explosives. It doesn't make tactical plans less deadly. The enemy has learned to fear capability, not demographics. Rodriguez was quiet for a long moment, then asked, what exactly did you do to earn this reputation? Maya looked at each of them. Operation Silent Thunder eliminated an entire enemy command structure in one night. Operation Dark Rain destroyed 3 supply depots and an ammunition factory without any friendly casualties. Operation Phantom Strike rescued 12 hostages and neutralized 43 enemy fighters. She continued, each mission was planned carefully. Each success built the reputation. The enemy started keeping records of operations where Ghost was involved. They learned to recognize the patterns. Jenkins was staring at her. And we thought you were just trying to prove yourself. I was never trying to prove anything to you, Maya replied simply. I was doing my job. Torres asked the next question. What do we do now? Maya looked at Bradley. Sir, that depends on the mission objective. If the goal was to eliminate the enemy force, we can pursue them to their secondary position before they fully evacuate. If the goal was to secure this area, we've already succeeded. Bradley nodded slowly, his entire understanding of the situation changing. Can you help us track them? Yes, sir. But I'll need to work forward reconnaissance, not stay back with the radios. For the first time, Bradley didn't hesitate. Whatever you need, Sergeant. As the unit prepared to move out again, the atmosphere had completely changed. The soldiers who had been making jokes that morning now watched Maya with a mixture of respect and awe. They were beginning to understand that they had been serving alongside a legend without knowing it. Private Wilson approached Maya as she prepared her equipment. Sergeant, I'm sorry about what the others said this morning. Maya looked at the young soldier. Don't apologize for them, Wilson. Just learn from it. What should I learn? That assumptions can be dangerous. In combat, the person next to you might be the difference between going home and not going home. Judge them by their actions, not by what you think they should be capable of. Wilson nodded seriously. Yes, Sergeant. Torres approached Maya as she prepared her equipment. Ghost, he said quietly, I have to ask. How many operations? Maya finished checking her rifle scope. 43 successful missions. 0 friendly casualties under my direct command. Enemy casualty count is classified. Torres nodded slowly. And they all know about you? The smart ones do. The ones who survive my operations make sure word spreads. It's actually become a psychological weapon. Sometimes the reputation is more effective than the actual engagement. Like today. Like today. The pursuit began an hour later, but this time Maya was leading the reconnaissance element. She moved through the terrain like she had been born to it, reading signs and tracking the enemy withdrawal with skills that amazed her teammates. She showed them how to read tire tracks in the dust, how to spot disturbed rocks that showed where people had walked, and how to use the wind to carry sounds from far away. These were skills she had learned on her special missions, techniques that had kept her alive in hostile territory. Ghost, this is Bravo 6, Bradley's voice came through her earpiece. What's your assessment? Maya studied the abandoned enemy camp through her scope. Sir, they evacuated in panic. Left behind significant intelligence materials and weapons. They prioritized speed over security. Can we catch them? No, sir. They had vehicles waiting at the secondary position. By now they're reporting to higher command that Ghost is active in this sector. Within 6 hours, every enemy unit within 50 kilometers will be ordered to withdraw. Bradley's voice was amazed. One person can clear 50 kilometers of enemy territory? Reputation can, sir. They've done the math. Fighting Ghost costs more than retreating. Rodriguez's voice came through the radio. Maya, this is incredible. How did you develop these skills? 3 years of training and operations that most people never hear about, Maya replied. Each mission taught me something new. Each success added to the reputation. As the day ended, Bravo Company secured the area without firing another shot. The enemy intelligence materials they recovered would provide valuable information for future operations. Among the papers were detailed reports about American operations, including a thick file labeled Ghost Protocol Extreme Threat Assessment. That evening, around the campfire at their temporary base, the soldiers talked in quiet, respectful tones. The joking and dismissive comments had stopped completely. I still can't believe it, Martinez said to Maya. This morning I thought. I didn't understand. Maya looked at him calmly. You thought a woman couldn't be an effective soldier. Martinez nodded, embarrassed. Yeah. The enemy thought the same thing 3 years ago, Maya replied. They learned differently. The hard way. Jenkins, who had been quiet all day, finally spoke up. How do you deal with it? Knowing that enemies are specifically afraid of you? Maya considered the question. It's a tool like any other weapon. But it only works because of the operations that came before. The reputation has to be earned. And you earned it, Torres said. It wasn't a question. 43 times. Wilson, who had been listening to everything, asked, Sergeant, what was your hardest mission? Maya stared into the fire for a moment. Operation Red Dawn. I was alone behind enemy lines for 2 weeks. Had to survive on what I could find and take down a command post that was coordinating attacks on our bases. What happened? I completed the mission. But it taught me that survival isn't about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about being smarter and more prepared than the enemy. Bradley joined the group holding a secure radio. I just got word from command. They want Ghost available for a priority mission next week. Something about enemy forces that have been avoiding conventional engagement. Maya nodded. They probably heard I was active again. Is this what you want? Bradley asked. Going back to the special operations? Maya looked around at the faces of her teammates. These men who had dismissed her that morning were now hanging on her every word. They had learned that effectiveness in combat had nothing to do with gender and everything to do with skill, training, and determination. I go where I'm needed, sir, she answered. But it's good to know that my regular unit understands what I bring to the fight. As the night grew darker, the soldiers shared stories and asked Maya about tactics and training. The barrier that had existed between her and the team had disappeared completely. Rodriguez asked about her training. How did you learn to move so quietly? Practice, Maya replied. Hours every day, learning to step without making noise, to breathe without being heard, to become invisible. And the languages? I heard you understanding the enemy radio calls. Part of the job. You can't fight an enemy you can't understand. You know what the crazy thing is? Jenkins said as they prepared to sleep. This morning I was worried about having to protect you in combat. Maya smiled slightly. And now? Now I'm hoping you'll protect us. The next morning brought new orders. Intelligence had confirmed that word of Ghost's return to active operations was spreading through enemy networks. 3 separate enemy units had abandoned positions they had held for months. A high-value target had fled across the border rather than risk an encounter. Sir, Maya said to Bradley as they prepared to return to base, there's something you should understand about working with Ghost. What's that? The reputation cuts both ways. Yes, enemies will often retreat rather than fight. But the ones who don't retreat are usually the most dangerous. They're either too inexperienced to know better, or they're confident they can win. Bradley nodded seriously. Meaning? Meaning when we do encounter enemies who are willing to engage, they'll be either very weak or very strong. Nothing in between. And which would you prefer? Maya checked her weapon one final time. The strong ones, sir. They're more predictable. As the convoy headed back to base, Maya sat in the lead vehicle this time, not in the communications truck. Her teammates looked at her differently now. They had seen how the mere mention of her call sign could clear a battlefield. But more importantly, they had learned that their assumptions about women in combat were not just wrong, they were dangerously naive. The enemy didn't care about gender stereotypes. They cared about results. And Maya Ghost, Chin delivered results. Davis, who was driving again, said quietly, Sergeant, I'm glad you're on our side. Maya nodded. That's the point, Davis. We're all on the same side. It just took everyone else a while to figure that out. 3 days later, intelligence reports confirmed that enemy activity in their operational area had dropped by 70%. Enemy commanders were requesting transfers to other regions. Some units were refusing missions that might bring them into contact with American forces, specifically citing concerns about the Ghost operative. The psychological impact was spreading faster than any conventional military operation could have achieved. Maya's reputation was becoming a strategic weapon that could shape enemy behavior across entire regions. In the military, respect is earned through performance under pressure. Maya had been performing at the highest level for 3 years, but her regular unit had never seen it. Now they understood why enemy forces treated her call sign like a death sentence. The dismissive jokes had been replaced by professional respect. The assumptions about female combat effectiveness had been shattered by undeniable reality. And Maya had proven that in warfare, the only thing that matters is the ability to complete the mission and bring everyone home alive. Her teammates had learned that true warriors are defined by their actions, not their demographics. And sometimes, the most dangerous person on the battlefield is the one the enemy underestimates. The enemy had stopped underestimating Maya Chin years ago. Her own team was just catching up. A week later, Maya received her orders for the next special mission. As she prepared to leave, her teammates from Bravo Company came to see her off. Ghost, Torres said, using her operational call sign with respect. Bring everyone home. Maya smiled. Always do, Staff Sergeant. Always do. As her helicopter lifted off into the desert sky, Maya looked down at the base where she had finally earned the respect of her regular unit. It had taken a battle where she never fired a shot, but sometimes the most powerful weapon is the one you never have to use. The legend of Ghost would continue to grow, one mission at a time.